Hello and welcome to Commodity Culture, where our goal is to make you a better investor in the commodities space. My name is Jesse Dane. Before we dive in, standard disclaimer, nothing here is investment advice. Do your own due diligence. And today's episode is brought to you by moneymetals.com, the most trusted online bullion dealer and depository in the United States. Use Money Metals for purchasing, selling, or storing physical gold and silver. Hit the link in the description below to learn more and use coupon code JESSEDAY to get a $10 discount on your first purchase. And today's guest is an author, trend forecaster, and the publisher of the Trends Journal. We're going to be getting his take on recent events in politics, geopolitics, and financial markets. It's Gerald Celente. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Well, it's wonderful to have you back, and I would like to get your take. First of all, let's just start off getting into controversial topics right away. I want to talk about the WEF event that happened recently in Davos, where they were discussing preparations for the next pandemic. Now, this obviously has me and a lot of people concerned, considering how people like the WHO and Tedros, the head of it, handled COVID. Now they're talking about they want to be in charge of handling the next pandemic. Obviously, concerns that this could be a manufactured sort of false flag event. What are your thoughts on the event overall and on the fact that they're talking about preparing for the next pandemic? Do you think there could be some sort of COVID 2.0 potentially to distract people from the collapse of the economy?
I'm not sure. To me, the biggest threat of the Davos gang meeting was their number one, what they ranked number one concern, which ties into that. Misinformation and disinformation. You're only allowed to swallow the crap that's spewing out of our mouth and quote the authorities. The authorities. Authorities are little low-life pieces of scum that suck off the public tit with a bad attitude and tell you what to do. So let's everybody get this straight. You know, my real last name is Celentano. When it came to America, things happened and became Celente. There's a guy the Italians don't like by the name of Mussolini. What's going on now is exactly what Mussolini supported. Fascism. The merger of state and corporate powers. His definition, what's going on now, the Davos gang right in front of everybody's eyes. The biggest corporation and the most scum low-life politicians at the top. Right there in front of everybody's eyes. We're running everything. Misinformation is if you don't swallow our crap. You are obliged to swallow our crap. We are in charge of your life. You're nothing more than a plantation worker of Slavelandia. Oh, more facts? Oxfam just came out with them. They do it every time Davos meets. 1% own 43% of the global financial assets. That's right. 5 billionaires in America doubled their billionaire wealth since they launched the COVID war in 2020. They all got richer as everybody else got poorer. It's fascism in front of everybody's eyes. Pandemic, what are you kidding? It's everything. Everything in control. Stand 6 feet apart. The wind blows exactly in 1 meter. Doesn't go up, doesn't go down, doesn't go around. And when you jerk off, make sure you sanitize your hands. All right? You got a freak show. You got a freak show and freaks running the show. Who do you look up to, huh? Oh, you like that Vandalion over there? Oh, no, maybe you like that Sunak over there in the UK. How about the FUCK, huh? Oh, you got a little clown, Olaf Schultz. A little Gatson Macron with his fake hair and a pecker about that big. Look at the freak show you got in America. Out of his mind, Biden. Narcissistic Trump. It's a freak show. The freaks are in charge, and the people aren't fighting back.
Well, if there was at least what appeared to be a bright light at the WEF event, that was the new president of Argentina, Javier Milei, giving a speech where he essentially called out a lot of the WEF policies as dangerous forms of collectivism that will lead to socialism and poverty. Is Milei the real deal, a politician who actually cares about humanity, or is he just playing a role? What are your thoughts?
He's playing a role. It's a reality show. That where the guy come from? You played an actor. It's just who it is. He's full of shit. He's full of shit. Look at it. Look. Oh, they're having a great time over there in Argentina. What'd your inflation just hit 211% as he devalued the currency by 50%? What the hell is devaluing the currency at 50% doing to? Oh, and they just got more money from the International Mafia Federation. Oh, excuse me, Monetary Fund. He's full of crap, just like the rest of them. He loves the slaughter of the Palestinians by the Israelis.
Interesting. I wonder is there any politician you currently see at this point in time that's doing anything? Bukele over in El Salvador. What are your thoughts on him?
They're doing better in El Salvador than a lot of other places. They went with the Bitcoin as the currency part, so he's trying to do some stuff. And I have a friend that lives there, Max Kaiser and Stacey Herbert. We used to do the Kaiser Report. I knew them for years. When I used to have conferences up here, they were speakers at my conference. They're in El Salvador. They keep telling me, come on down. It's great here. You got a few places, but it's a shit show most of the world. Again, I was the assistant to the secretary of the New York State Senate. I was right at the top of the political scene. I used to run political campaigns in Westchester County at a graduate school back in the 1970s, 1971, early. I was in the system. I designed and instructed American politics and campaign technology, how to run political campaigns, and I taught it at St. John's University. I was a chief government affairs specialist for the chemical industry in the 1970s, killing environmental legislation. All I wanted to do was make money and move up the ladder. But I wouldn't know what I know if I wasn't on the other side. And then I started to grow up and I changed my thinking. But I know what the system is. It's a crime syndicate. End of story. That people call a government. It's a crime syndicate. They're murderers and thieves. By their deeds, you shall know them.
And what is the deal with this theme of degeneracy that keeps showing up in politics? It's interesting. I'm here in Serbia and talking to my friends about Serbian politics. The politicians here will literally be out partying, doing all sorts of hard drugs, getting involved in all sorts of scandalous situations. And then the very next day, they show up for the TV cameras, they put a suit on, and they start talking about how they're going to crack down on drugs and start putting people in jail right after they've just been up all night doing drugs. And I know it's that way in a lot of places around the world. What is it about politics that just attracts this sort of degenerate mindset?
They're the same people I hated in high school and college that wanted to be class president or the head of the student council. They're egotistical, narcissistic freaks. You don't ask a murderer why he's a murderer. You don't ask a thief why they're a thief. These are mentally deranged people, again, arrogant, narcissistic, and once upon a time, there was a guy that was the president of the United States. His name was Dwight D. Eisenhower. Look it up. Any man, this is from his mouth, two-term president. He was the president of Columbia University, and they talked him to running for office. He said, any man seeking the office of president is either an egomaniac or crazy. That's it. From his mouth, the guy that was there. And again, I was there. I know what it is. When I quit, nobody could believe I quit. One of my best friends' wife became lieutenant governor. Brian Donahue, Mary Donahue became. on the Pataki. When I quit, they couldn't believe I quit. He said, Gerald, you leaving? I said, I'm not going to take this shit. I'm watching grown men grovel to suck their way up to the top. I said, that's not my trip. I'm a Napolitano born in the Bronx. I'm born to be free, man. This isn't me. I'm a man. Don't tell me what to do. I won't tell you what to do. I'm not going to. It'd be in the back of the chamber, and the senator would walk in, and the guys would follow him to his seat, pull it out. These chairs you could blow on, and they'd move, and help him sit down. I come back. I say, what's the matter, man? Cat can't sit down by himself. He needs some help. I said, Gerald, you have that kind of an attitude. You're not going to make it here. I said, you're right, man. I'm not going to do that. I said, what do? You help him wipe his ass when he takes his shit? So that's what the political system is. That's the political system.
You've been saying both in interviews and in the Trends Journal that you think there is a threat of greater global conflict erupting, much worse than it has already, and a new world war emerging. How close are we to that scenario, and what would it take to put an end to it?
We're at it already. It's only going to be, all right. You're in Serbia, right? A place called Yugoslavia one time, right?
Yeah.
That's World War I. The Archduke Ferdinand is assassinated in Sarajevo. What the hell is an Archduke, and what the hell are he doing over in Sarajevo? Oh, that's what began the war? No. The war was going on before that. Oh, World War II began in America when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. You mean it didn't begin when Franklin Roosevelt seized all Japanese assets in July of 1941? When the United States, the Dutch, and the UK cut off trade, so Japan lost 3/4 of its export trade and 88% of its imported oil, and they only import 100%. You mean that didn't World War II? No, it only started when they bombed Pearl Harbor, girls and boys. World War II began with the Ukraine war. And again, this is your Trends Journal from back in 2014. The United States overthrow the democratically elected government of Viktor Yanukovych. People have no idea about that, of course, and most people, except people listening to your channel and subscribe to our magazine. So now, that's when World War I began. World War III began. It was the cover of our magazine on February 20th, 2022. The war began, the Ukraine war began 2 days later. From COVID war to Ukraine war to world war. Now, what was one of our top trends for 2023? Middle East meltdown. We warned that this was going to happen, that Netanyahu, people forgot the 39 weeks of protests going on after he got elected and did it with the Judicial Reform Act. He's being brought up in corruption charges. No, I'm not going to change the law. Hundreds of thousands of people protesting each week for 39 weeks in a row before the war began on October 8th or October 7th, one of those 2 dates of last year. The Middle East meltdown. Now, from Netanyahu, he said, we're going to target Iran. Oh, great, man. Hey, slaughtering people over in Libya, bombs away over Lebanon. Yeah, go kill them over there. You don't going to. Nah. You go to war against Iran, it's going to, World War III's begun. Again, Ukraine's losing the war, of course, which we said they would from the beginning. They're going to do a false flag event, bombs away. I just heard they attack something in St. Petersburg. They'll probably blow up a nuclear plant. Something will happen in Israel, on and on and on. And that's going to become official. It's already going on. They're going to make it official when there's either a false flag or a major event happens. It's already underway.
Is there any way to stop it from its current trajectory?
Yes.
What would that take?
The people. The people have to unite for peace. Hey, where were all these religions? Where they got lockjaw? I mean, were the Seventh-day Adventists waiting for the eighth day? All you Quakers died in an earthquake? I grew up Catholic. What are you, a Catholic priest? What are you looking for little boys and you're not out there protesting for peace? with Episcopalians, the Baptists. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, pass the bucket so we can get more money so we don't have to work. Pass the basket. It's up to the people to change it. And I launched Occupy Peace over a decade ago. So I do everything I can. I have major peace rallies, but we got to get the billionaires' money. Things don't happen in the world without money. End of story. And that's what has to happen. The people have to unite for peace. We need a real international peace movement. Anybody that supports the war in any other country, put on your military drag, go over there and fight, send your wife, your kids, your transgenders, whatever the hell you got. You all go over there, take your money, go fight, or shut your damn mouth.
Yeah, completely agree with you there. When I went to visit Canada last year, everybody was flying Ukrainian flags. Really didn't make sense to me. Very bizarre situation. The latest issue of the Trends Journal focused on the U.S. drowning in debt. In that issue, you wrote, the national debt has surged to a staggering $34 trillion, and the U.S. is teetering on the brink of a partial shutdown. Our lawmakers on the Hill are in a frenzied scramble, concocting new ways to navigate this fiscal crisis at the expense of the American taxpayer. I think the average person out there has no sense of just how serious the debt situation is. They figure tomorrow is going to be like today, and on and on. They go about their lives without thinking about it. How will this all end, and will it take pain to teach the needed lesson to the masses about this out-of-control debt situation?
First of all, you never educate the masses. It's a waste of time. Most people have no idea of a $34 trillion debt, what it costs each week or each month to service it. They have no idea. As we used to say in the Bronx, people don't know dick about shit. And my father, may rest in peace, when I start talking about things, he says, son, take it easy. People have little minds. The masses just follow. It's going to happen is they're going to come out with a digital currency. And they're going to say something like, the Russians hacked our banking system. We lost our money, but we came out with a new one. They're going to invent something. There's no way in the world they could pay off this debt. So here's how it goes. There's a presidential election coming up in the United States in November. The people running the White House are the banksters. The head of the Treasury Department, Secretary of Treasury, is Janet Yellen, former job, head of the Federal Reserve. All right? Right in front of your eyes. They want to keep the people in power in power. They're going to lower interest rates. As interest rates go down, the dollar goes down. The dollar's only strong because interest rates are high. As the dollar goes down, gold prices go up. This is the beginning of the death of the dollar. The world has had enough of America's hegemony, geopolitically and economically. America, wars keep going up as the nation keeps going down. It's disgusting what's happened to this country. Breaks my heart. Again, I'm born in 1946, right after the war, at the height of energy. America's at the top. And I'm born in the Bronx, born to be free. I see what's happened to this country. It breaks my heart. What a bunch of gutless little boys and girls. Look at the clowns they look up to. So going back to the economy, people have no idea what's going on. They're going to come out with a new currency. They're going to do everything they can to rig the game. They'll do everything they can to keep propping up the equity markets because the 1% is in control of the world. In America, globally, I said they own 43% own the equities. In America, the 1% owns 54% of the equities. The 10% own 90% of it. So again, the average person knows nothing. The only way it's going to change, as I see it, is with a international movement. And it's probably going to be off with their heads 2.0 because the people are getting angry about this.
And when it comes to, you mentioned a central bank digital currency, some sort of alternate currency being issued. Do you think it's important for people to hold sound money in the form of gold and silver in times like these. And you touched briefly on Bitcoin earlier when we talked about El Salvador. Do you think Bitcoin could also offer that kind of store of value, sound money characteristic, or do you think it's still too early and speculative of an asset to play that role?
Again, we only give forecasts, we don't give financial advice. We're very bullish on gold for the geopolitical reasons, and when the dollar goes down, gold prices go up. Silver, it's a funny game. Silver prices should be much higher, but they've been stagnant for so long. Again, I bought silver back, in the last decade, earlier. When was probably about 2007, 2008. It's like $40 an ounce. Was it? This is a $24, $23 range. And Bitcoin, it's around like $42,000 a coin. 12 years ago it was worth a penny, So it's very strong. We're bullish on Bitcoin, gold, Bitcoin, and silver. And again, the Bitcoin deal could change anytime because that's our bet. Gold and silver is, to me, an investment, but Bitcoin's a bet because if the governments clamp down on it when they come out with their digital currencies, they'll do everything they can to stop the competition. Anything they can. Again, if you don't believe me, once upon a time, a little warmongering freak, may he rot in hell, who got us into World War II, Franklin Roosevelt, 1933, turn in your gold. You don't turn in your gold, you go to jail. Oh, this is America bringing freedom and democracy to other countries. My father, may he rest in peace, told me, son, he said, your grandfather had a whole load of gold. I go over the house one day and he said, Pop, what are you doing? He said, I'm bringing the gold to the bank. The president asked us to do it, and I honor the president. He said, don't you do it. Are you crazy? Don't you tell me what to do, my grandfather said. He turned it all in. They turned it in for like $26 an ounce. After they figured they got everything, they raised the price to like $32, $34 an ounce. It's a crime syndicate. They'll do anything to rob the people of their money in the name of taxes and to get them killed in the name of war. They're maniacs. So going back, those are our three bets: gold, Bitcoin, and silver.
And from an investment perspective outside of precious metals and Bitcoin, what do you think is the best way for people to protect their wealth? Is it safe to be invested in stocks at the moment, in your view? You also mentioned in the Trades Journal that we should expect extreme distortions in the market to worsen. We also don't really have a free market. The Fed and central bank policy plays so much of a role in the stock market. What are your thoughts there?
It's a gambling game. It's a gambling game, and they're going to do everything they can to keep it high. We believe the markets are going to go down when the banks go bust. And that's one of our top trends for 2024. Banks go bust because you're going to have a commercial office crisis that's already existing that we warned about for over 3 years when they began the lockdowns and people started working from home. And you have a vacancy rate, empty buildings, 20% in the United States. Vacant. Occupancy rate, office occupancy, Castle Systems, 50%. They're not going to be able to pay their loans. You got revolving loans, and these aren't mortgages. These are they only pay on interest. So now they're revolving loans. The new loans come up. They got to refinance the whole deal. Oh, and interest rates went way up from the time they bought these buildings. So you're going to see a banking crisis, the likes of which you've never seen. You're going to see hundreds of banks go bust. That's when reality is going to hit Main Street. Main Street's suffering, but they as long as they keep hearing the news that things are okay, then the people feel, yeah, I'm having a tough time, but it could get a lot worse. It's not that bad. When the banks crash, when Wall Street crashes, then Main Street will feel the pain, the reality of the pain. And we believe that's going to happen this year. There's going to be a banking bust is going to happen. What happened last March with Silicon Valley Bank, First Republic Government, nothing. You're going to see hundreds of banks go bust as they default on loans.
And you spoke at the top of the interview about this misinformation, malinformation, this new threat that the global elites have decided needs to be dealt with. I think some people are waking up to what's going on, and in some parts due to the free of exchange of ideas on a platform like X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. there has been a big push against both Elon Musk and that platform by the European Union, by other entities who want to silence free exchange of information. Do you think we could see a scenario where freedom of speech is completely smothered online, and a platform like X could fall into the same category as YouTube and Facebook, which heavily censor content?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's gone already. I mean, look, I got taken off YouTube for a week because one of my interviews I did, one of the podcasts rather, I read a report from Reuters. The United Nations says that some 10,000 Ukrainian civilians have been killed since the beginning of the war. And I said, at that time, it's 21 months. They only killed 10,000. I said, man, they should catch up. They should be doing what Israel's doing. Israel's killed 14,000 in just a month and a half. I said, well, the Russians are way behind. Of course, I was being sarcastic. They call that hate speech. Yeah, I hate war.
I want to get your thoughts on the green agenda. This seems to be another piece of the Davos puzzle with politicians around the world, insisting that people need to suffer, your quality of life needs to go down in the name of saving the planet. You know, we've seen the Canadian government try to curtail oil and gas production, all the while importing tons of it from other countries. Hypocrisy is at its finest, but that doesn't seem to bother the politicians implementing these policies, and similar policies being implemented around the world, places like Germany, etc. What is behind the green agenda, and will the pendulum eventually swing the other way? Will the people stand up and say no?
No, it's going to keep going. And again, it's ridiculous. One of our top trends for 2024 is EV, FU. I mean, the big stories now finally come in the United States. It's freezing over here. You can't refuel it. You can't, these things die. And the battery was invented in 1800. Going back to Dwight D. Eisenhower, 5-star general, supreme commander of the Allied forces and 2-term president. The military-industrial complex is robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists, the sweat of the laborers, and the future of the children. The hundreds of trillions of dollars that America has spent on war since World War II. Again, robbing the nation of the genius of the scientists. If that money was put into research and development instead of bombs, ships, and planes and jets, and being in over 800 military bases in over 70 countries, we would have real alternative energies, not the crap that they're putting out there. These stupid things, these windmills, modern windmills that destroy wildlife flying by, that do crap and make a lot of noise and make life miserable around you. The batteries, all the lithium and all what's going on to get this stuff and how inefficient they are. Yeah, but hey, how about all the other ways that they're killing us, huh? Oh, you like all those microplastics and everything that you drink? Yeah, how about those PCBs still in the Hudson River over here? Look at the crap that they're killing us in 1,000. Hey, GMOs are great for you. How about keep eating those ultra-processed foods? Artificial colors, artificial flavors, it's terrific. Number one, they're killing us in a million ways. The green agenda is a political agenda. If there was a real green agenda, we'd be really putting money into it to make it happen. But they're not.
And I'd like to close on asking if there's anything at the moment that has you feeling positive. Is there any silver lining in all of this? Is there any reason to have potential hope for the future? Any positive developments that you're seeing?
Hope is the most negative word in the metaphysical dictionary. It means wanting for something to happen. I hope it happens without doing anything to make it happen. I see nothing positive, as I said, unless there's a major movement of the people for a evolution rather than the devolution that we're going through now. And I don't see that happening. Again, it's synthetic devolution, as we say. Last year's was AI, we own you. Young people, they're addicted to their cell phones, 5Gs, all the data. Again, I work for this. I did work for the cellular telecommunications industry back in the 1990s when they had boxes in the trunks of cars with aerials and people had these phones. I know about the radio frequency radiation on and the deadliness of this. And young people are totally addicted to it. I remember in France where they banned young people using phones because the brain shield is thinner and the radiation was going in deeper. But hey, the bigs are in charge. Get away with that law. Let everybody do it. So no, this thing is going down big. I don't see anything positive unless there's a renaissance. That's what followed the Black Plague. The people got hip to the scene. They were killing themselves out of Romana all'antica, in the manner of the Romans and the ancients, to describe the quality of their work. You got to go back to that quality. So I don't see that happening.
Well, I do really appreciate you coming on the show and hopefully making an effort to wake some people up out there and let people know what's really going on behind the power structure of our planet. A lot to be negative about, to be sure. Before I do let you go, tell us about the Trends Journal, what it is you do there, and where people can find that online.
The magazine is a weekly. It's over 180, 190 pages a week, and you can listen to it. And people say, I can't read all it. You read what you want to read. We cover the world, geopolitically, socioeconomically, from high-tech science to AI to technocracy to you name it. And we really cover the world. So we tell people what in the world is going on, what it means, and what's next. So we report, this is what's being reported. And when we go, like, for instance, talk about the Israel war, we go to the Times of Israel, Jerusalem Post, Haaretz. We go to IRNA, ISNA, Tehran News in Iran. We go to Al Jazeera. We go to Euronews. We go all over the world. We go to TASS. What are they saying? What are they saying? And we say, this is what they're saying. This is our analysis, and here's where it's going, and this is what you might want to do to prepare, prevail, and prosper. So there's no other Trends magazine in the world. They call Trends magazine what's going on in fashion and music. That's not Trends. Yeah, by the way, this is some of my books. Trend Tracking, far better than Megatrends, Time magazine. Trends 2000, international bestseller. We're publishing the Trends Journal since 1991. We're giving people everything we can to help them. And it's only $2.86 a week, a lousy cup of coffee anywhere. And so you go to the New York Times, the toilet paper record, $5 a day. The Wall Street Journal, $5 a day. You get nothing. I get these papers every day. I want to see what they're saying. Day after day, week after week, we hardly get a story from the New York Times that's trends-worthy. But we read this stuff to see what they're telling the people and how they're selling them the propaganda. So we're giving you what you're not getting anywhere else. And the more subscribers we have, the more we can do. And so it's up to the people. You're not only supporting us, you're supporting yourself. Trendsjournal.com, trendsjournal.com. And to tell you the way I feel about things, you could also get this T-shirt.
I love it.
And here's the back. So that's what we do. And to tell you who I really am and how I really feel,
thank you so much for coming on, Gerald. I'm going to put a link to the Trends Journal in the description below for people who want to check that out, and really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your knowledge with the audience.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you for all that you're doing. And I'd love to come out there and see you live and in person.
And thank you for joining us today. Once again, a reminder, this episode is sponsored by moneymetals.com. Use coupon code JesseDay to get a $10 discount on your first purchase. Link is in the description below, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Commodity Culture is a series on commodities and natural resources. If you would like to see more, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification so you're always up to date with the latest episodes.